Oh, is it real? Am I really restored back? Is it my show again? It's my show again. It's the Dan K Show. The hats make sense again. I don't have any weird notes on my Dan K Show shirt. Lucas did a great job last week. Incredible. But we're down to the real things. The brass tacks. The power rankings. Power Rankings week starts now. What is going on, hockey fans? It is Power Rankings week, but first, I have to break a powerful story that my co-host is unaware of. Last week, I had to suffer through the Lucas J Show, so I got a little bit of insider reporting, and I'll never let sources out. I'll never let folks know, but it turns out that the everyman, the blue-collar guy sitting to my left, reportedly attended a cat's first birthday party. Lucas Jones, we have a photo of this that'll be going up right now as Lucas has to edit this in. Lucas, cat's first birthday party. Yeah. Talk to the folks at home about that.
Oh, it was great. It's the cat's name is Fyodor, Theo for short. It's a 1-year-old Russian blue that my friend adopted from a shelter. You know, you always like to adopt from shelters instead of buying your pets from, breeders or anything like that because, you want to give these pets a home and you want to make sure they have a loving family. And, I mean, he absolutely adores this cat, so he threw a little first birthday party, and it was a nice opportunity. I got to see some friends I haven't seen in a very long time. Is this rumored that this is a picture of you with the cat?
That's actually pretty close.
This is Lucas Jones. We'll have this again on the show. Lucas Jones attended a cat's first birthday party. Cool cat here. But meow, it's time. Folks, I had to do it. We had to break the news. And again, what was the cat's name?
Fyodor. Theo for short.
Theo. So Theo, happy birthday to you. We hope that it was cat-tastic. We hope it wasn't a catastrophe.
No, there was a lot of catnip involved, so Theo was pretty chill throughout the whole night.
Nice night for Theo. But it's time to reward our elite and premier hockey players with our power rankings. This is awesome. Elite power rankings. Lucas, talk to the folks at home. Because we didn't really battle. We're going to start with the elite. We didn't battle here. I think we agreed.
No, I think we did agree on pretty much every selection, except for maybe the 10 spot. Except for the 10 spot.
The 10 spot, I have it written this way. I think I was actually supposed to make a change to it. Lucas had the Florida Eels in the 10 spot.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Carolina Eagles in the 10 spot. We can hash it out right now, Lucas. Who gets that 10th spot?
I mean, I think it's the Florida Eels. I mean, They've had a great run in the last 10 games. They're 8-2-0 in their last 10. They're really picking up that goal differential. They've played some good teams down the stretch. They've got so much talent. I just think that if you go Eagles, you overstate what that division is like.
I don't think you can overstate what that division is. Again, if you ask what side I'm on, folks, I had the Carolina Eagles as my 10 squad. I think this is a team that when you put them up against the Florida division, they've won games. They've won hockey games. They went out there and they beat the Tampa Bay Juniors, something that I found to be a huge move. A Tampa Bay Juniors team that I'd expect up in these rankings in this top 10. And I think they've done enough. But Lucas, I'm going to give you final call. I mean, I just called you out for going to a cat's birthday party as a piece de resistance.
Well, I mean, here's kind of what I'm looking at, right? So, Florida Eels beating the Tampa Bay Juniors.
Yep.
They split that series 1-1.
But the Juniors have had their number this year overall.
That is true. The Florida Eels also beating the DME Swamp Rabbits, which is a little bit of a win for them as well. They beat the Florida Junior Blades a couple of times. But, and then we can pull in with the good old-fashioned Dan K here and go way back.
He's going to use me, go way back.
You start going back to December, the Florida Eels beat DME Swamp Rabbits again. Then, the Florida Eels had some trouble against Tampa Bay Juniors and Hampton Roads and against the Richmond Generals, but I still think that the Florida Eels deserve that spot. However, I kind of see where you're going with the Carolina Eagles, so I think I'm okay with putting the Carolina Eagles there. But I think that's a message to the Florida Eels. You guys are on the cusp. Right Show me something this month before we hit the playoffs.
That was literally the only place we disagreed. I think this is the closest we've ever been in making these. We make them without the other one seeing the list, and when we put them out there, we had a chuckle. We had a good chuckle here. As we go to number 9, and this is a team that could argue that they could be in the top 5. But they sit here for the second month in a row at number 9, the Jersey Hitmen. Lucas, the Hitmen find themselves in this 9 spot. What do they got to do to move themselves up the ranks here?
Well, I think it's just simple. You got to keep winning games.
Yep.
You know, we're coming down the stretch here. You look at a team like the Hitmen, and they've. It's not to say that they've had trouble, right? Because the Hitmen generally don't seem to find themselves in the midst of trouble. But I think with the kind of teams that they've gone up against in the past few months, and the teams they got coming down the stretch, you kind of want to see them to continue to win these games as much as possible.
Yep.
I think the issue with teams that are higher is they've had tougher schedules.
Exactly right, and this is a situation where this Hitmen team, you can't make the schedule. You can only play it, right? You can't make it. You can only play it. They're playing the schedule in front of them. They're winning the games they have to win, and all it's going to matter. Again, this is our final power rankings, folks, for the Elite Premier before we go into the postseason at the end of the month of February. Hey, that's where the real statements are made. You could be ranked 9th in this, but if you're ranked number 1 at the end of the year, you raise a cup and a banner.
Yeah, I think, you know, the big issue is that Friday, January 4th, Saturday, January 5th was a no-win weekend for them. They lost to IHC and to Hampton Roads.
Yep.
So, you know, a couple of big losses there. But like I said, you guys keep winning, you'll keep moving.
That's exactly right. Talking about moving, it's the Tampa Bay Juniors at number 8. And this is a team that does nothing but win, but they actually move back a spot. Chris P. reached out to us on Twitter, said to show them some love, some respect. And I'll tell you what, Chris, I have nothing but respect for how good this Tampa Bay Juniors team has been. What it comes down to is you start to kind of weigh these schedules, the strength of schedules, with what happens when you go cross-rivalry, right? Cross-divisions. When the Florida Division meets the Southeast, when they meet the Northeast, when they're meeting the Mid-Atlantic, what happens on the ice? And Tampa Bay right now is a team that they played it close with Richmond. They beat the Atlanta Junior Kings. They beat the Charlotte Rush. They've done it all. I think they could move up the rankings here, but they sit at number 8.
Yeah, and these the bottom 5 in this top 10, I mean, it's tough because they all seem to be beating up on each other, right? So Tampa Bay Juniors beat the Charlotte Rush, but they lose to the Carolina Eagles, right? They just beat the Florida Eels, beat the Florida Junior Blades, and beat the Atlanta Junior Kings. But it's one of those situations where it's a little bit too messy, and it's really hard to tell, and so you have to rely on the teams that are making movements up rather than saying, oh, this team earned a move down. It's because other teams are moving up.
They're number 1 in the entire league in goals scored. That is something to remember. And come playoff time, if they get the net minding, if they can play both ends of the ice, they have every right to that title. You're going to see these guys in the Nationals. I will tell you right now. We will see them March 9th through the 11th, and I hope they shut us up, man. I hope they prove us wrong. I hope that this thing is playing in the locker room. I hope the Stroats are showing this thing in the locker room in Tampa Bay and saying, boys, we're not getting the respect we deserve. Let's go get it with a couple W's come playoff time. This team has every right to a title. Can't wait to see where they go. Speaking of a team that's dropped back a few spots, and I'll have an argument with the Dan K Show, the Charlotte Rush at number 7. This is the lowest they have been in the history of Dan K Show Power Rankings. That tells you how incredibly good they are.
Yeah, you know, the Charlotte Rush have been pretty phenomenal and been consistently phenomenal, except for January. They've had a tough January. They've gone 5-4-1 in their last 10. They've lost to some good teams. You know, we're not going to knock you for that. You've lost to the Bandits 4-2. You know, you beat the Rockets, you beat the New Hampshire Monarchs, but then you drop one in overtime to the Cyclones. Yeah, you split with the Whalers as well. So, you know, you had a tough month, and it's always the battle, right, between the entire season over here versus what have you done for me lately over here. But, you know, again, I think it's half on the rough month, half on other teams who've had great months.
That's exactly right. And we go to number 6. And number 6 is a team that beat the Charlotte Rush head-to-head at the Winter Showcase. And, you know, you got to put a lot into it. When you get past New Year's, we talk about the quarter poles in the season, right? The 4 points in the season with a junior hockey team. It's right after Halloween. You've eaten all that candy. Where are you then? It's after Thanksgiving. You had that big meal. You get a few days off from the ice. What team are you then? And the big one is after New Year's Day. And after New Year's Day, the first game back, the Boston Bandits at number 6 beat the Charlotte Rush. And they've dropped 3 spots back here. They've had a little bit of, they've hit a few of the branches on the way down to the victory tree as well, the success tree. But they're still sitting there 24-8-3 with 51 points in the North.
Yeah, you know, they've had a month that, you know, I'm sure they would have loved to improve, but 6-3-1 is really nothing to shake a stick at to continue the tree metaphors that we've been dropping. But, you know, they split one with the Cyclones, and that's, I think, a really good thing to see from a team like the Bandits. You split a series with the team that's directly above you in the standings, and you go to that Elite North. New Hampshire Junior Monarchs, 56 points. Northern Cyclones 54 points. Boston Bandits 51 points. I mean, the Bandits and the Cyclones, they're in it right now. They're right in the middle of this neck-and-neck battle for second place in the North.
The Monarchs do have 2 games in hand on Boston, 3 in hand on the Northern Cyclones, and have been tough against both head-to-head. So we'll see how that one goes down the stretch. But for now, we go to number 5, and we want to talk about head-to-head victories. How about a team that's beaten the number 6 team we just talked about, the Bandits, and is coming off a sweep of the Charlotte Rush? The Atlanta Junior Kings, and the Kings have reigned of late. They are at number 5. The 5 spot is the throne for the Atlanta Junior Kings.
Yeah, and they've had such a good run right here. I mean, look at some of the teams that they've beaten. They've beaten the Northern Cyclones, they've beaten the Bandits, and they've beaten the Jersey Hitmen. So you've got 3 games starting off in January where they've been absolutely stellar. I mean, they struggle against Hampton Roads, they struggle against the Monarchs. But, those are teams that, not that you expect to struggle, but, I mean, these are really, really good teams that they've played, and they've come out pretty strong.
And I want to talk about Jack Perna, netminder for the Atlanta Junior Kings. We're getting to playoff time. Last power rankings before the playoffs. What wins a playoff series sometimes? A goaltender just standing on his head. How many times have you watched a worse team beat the better team solely because of netminding? Jack Perna, 13-6-0 on the year, a 2.38 goals against average. 9-1-1 on the saves percentage there. Call 911, man, because this guy is an emergency for offenses trying to score on him.
Yeah, it all comes down to goaltending. We've seen so many games saved by just outrageous levels of goaltending. I mean, I even saw a couple of stops in the Rockets game that I did this weekend where just absolutely stellar netminding was the only reason that the puck didn't go in the back of the net.
We go to number 4, and number 4 is going to raise some eyebrows. It is going to get some people frustrated for multiple reasons. Some will think they're higher, some will think they're lower. Number 4, moving up 2 spots from last month where they were the 6th seed, the lowest of the year for them, the Hampton Roads Whalers. And the Hampton Roads Whalers struggle a bit against the Richmond Generals there. We were there in Richmond watching them play. Battled with them, though. Took them to the end. Had them against the ropes at times. But they sit at number 4, Lucas. What gets them to that point?
Well, 2 losses against the Richmond Generals, a loss against the Charlotte Rush as well, splitting a series with the Charlotte Rush.
Yep.
They beat the Atlanta Junior Kings twice back-to-back days. But you lose to the Northern Cyclones, you lose to the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs, and again, it's a situation where they are losses, they're losses to great teams, and so you struggle kind of internally with what does that really mean, right? What does a loss against a really good team mean? And they're close, some of them are really close games, but some of them are not. And I think that's the issue.
Yeah, you look at this Hampton Roads team, and they can get the net minding on any given night. That's something to go into the postseason with. They have the goal-scoring ability. What I will tell you, at both the elite and premier level, then the coaching staffs will agree with me, and they will recite this with me till the grass grows green, man. And it's winter. It's cold here. Not a lot of green grass. There's been a problem with going to the penalty box. They haven't been able to stay out of the box. They've been playing down a man a lot. They've had games where they've had half a period in the box. It's some of these penalties you can avoid. But you know what? That is something you can teach. You can preach that in practice. You can find that come postseason time. And a team sitting in first place right now, 32-9-1, with 65 points, I couldn't keep them outside the top 5 sitting in first place.
No, and I mean, they can generate so much offense sometimes, which is one of those other things where you look at some of these goal differentials and you almost think to yourself, it kind of reminds you of I think, the 11 or 12 New York Yankees, where they'd score like 11 runs in a game and then get shut out the next game. Guys like DJ Randall and Cody Wilson, these guys are averaging over a point per game. They're doing it on the power play, regular strength. There's assists galore on this team, and every once in a while, a team just has their number.
And Arun Sabrario knows the scenario, man. 20 goals, 12 assists for him. That is number 4. Man, what could this top 3 possibly be? At number 3, a team that beat the Hampton Roads Whalers, as Lucas said so eloquently. The Northern Cyclones. They move up a spot and sit in the 3 spot, and I said it the first time we saw them, Lucas. I told you that was the most impressed I'd been with a team. They were outside the top 10 in our power rankings at that point. When we watched them against Team Beijing win 7-4, Danny Woods, who's our player of the month here, player of the week, I believe, and you've watched them just flourish, just absolutely flourish of late, and they move up into the 3 spot, and the sky's the limit for this Cyclones team. This Northern Cyclones team has every right to think they're a title winner. If you ask me right now, there are 2 teams that I think would be my pick for a title. I don't like to pick the top dog. Neither would be the top dog. Another team I'd pick would be who sits at number 2. The Richmond Generals. The Richmond Generals for the 2nd month in a row sit at number 2. 3 of the months this year with the power rankings, out of 6 months, we have had them at the 1 or 2 spot, the Richmond Generals at number 2.
Yeah, they're on a 7-game win streak as well, so they've had a pretty great month. They're 8-2-0 in their last 10. You want to talk about, goal differential sometimes telling the story, right? But then you look at the defense. They're tied with Hampton Roads Whalers for the best defense in that Southeast Division. Only 88 goals given up on the season. I mean, you'd have to go to the defensive-heavy North to find defenses that are as good as the Richmond Generals right now. And, you finally get to watch them in person, and you see it's not a one-dimensional team. It's not just speed. It's not just skill. It's tenacity. It's fighting back. It's the physicality that they bring.
The game changer for them is going to be Boulay. Boulay comes in, Zach Boulay. This is a guy from Canada. This is a guy who is a game changer. His mitts are filthy, just insane, just sickening how good this guy is. He's so talented. You watch him, and he's the kind of guy that if you leave him alone, he'll hang out in that corner with the puck and just wait. And just pick you apart. He'll enter the zone, he'll score on the move, he'll put his body in front, tip one home. He plays the game in all ways necessary. Boulay is an absolute game changer for these guys. And with that, we move to our final squad, our number 1 squad, and the second month in a row these guys sit at number 1, the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs. Just not enough to knock them off right now.
Yeah, goal differential of 133 puts them as the highest differential in that elite division. You look at some of the teams they've beaten Hampton Roads. They lost one to the Rush, but they've beaten the Atlanta Junior Kings. They've beaten the Richmond Generals, the Northern Cyclones, the Junior Bruins. They actually split one with the Junior Bruins, so they're 1-1.
And that's where you get that Junior Bruins loss, and you look at that, and with the Bruins, they'll tell you themselves, they haven't had a normal Bruins year at the elite level, right? They got a lot of young guys figuring it out right now, and they're piecing it together. The New Hampshire Junior Monarchs is the number 1 team. You want to take advantage of those games, man. You want to go get those 2 W's out of that weekend. Bruins took it to them in that second game, and I can tell you, the Monarchs had to dust themselves off and get themselves back into it. But 2 months in a row, they sit at number 1. Peter Barry in net, 14-2 on the year with a 2.09 goals against and a .924 saves percentage. You got Peter Barry in net, you feel comfortable that you can win, and plenty of guys who can score the puck as well.
These guys, they're absolutely just throwing these pucks either at teammates who are putting it in the back of the net or putting it in the net themselves. It's really impressive to watch.
Really impressive to watch this elite, and as producer Lane will tell you, it's her favorite level of hockey right now to watch. This year the elite's been so fun. The parity in it, the love of the game from these guys. Love getting a chance to meet guys. You get the guys like Matty Irwin there with the Northern Cyclones who call me out when I don't call them out during a game. I love it, man. I love the energy in this elite. Number 10, the Carolina Eagles, very close to Florida Eels there at number 10, our honorable mention. Then the Jersey Hitmen at number 9, Tampa Bay Juniors at 8, Charlotte Rush at 7, Bandits at 6, stealing their way back a few spots. The Atlanta Junior Kings sit at the number 5 throne. The Hampton Roads Whalers, all roads leading there at number 4. The Northern Cyclones at 3. Number 2, the Richmond Generals in top spot for the second month in a row, the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs. Let us know what you think on social media at @the_DanK Show, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And stick around, Premier Power Rankings are coming up next.
You are watching The Dan K Show. Everything USPHL. From the NCDC to the Premier and Elite Leagues. The Dan K Show with Dan K and Lucas Jones.
All right, hopefully you've gotten all your venting out. Your anger has been released because it's time to reset, recalibrate, and get ready to be even more angry at us when you hear the Premier Power Rankings. This one we disagreed on a little bit more, but I tended to err towards the side of Lucas. I went through it the first time, and I tinkered a bit. What I will tell you, one team that doesn't make it, the Skipjacks Hockey Club, is a team that I still think is the best team in that division with the New York Aviators.
And I don't disagree with you, but you got to show us. You got to show us that you're the best team out there. We can feel something deep in our guts and in our hearts, but the stats have to show it too. And I have a sneaking suspicion, Dan, that your little Dan K bump, quote unquote, might be kicking in February.
What I will tell you is this weekend, coming up, you're watching with us on Thursday, this weekend, make sure to tune in on Hockey TV as the Skipjacks Hockey Club welcome into town those very tough to beat, those very difficult to deal with, those faster than anyone in the league, New York Aviators, who have 222 goals for. Let me just, for those of you who want to argue with Dan K, why the Skipjacks Hockey Club are not as good as New York Aviators. New York Aviators, 222 goals for, 83 against. Skipjacks Hockey Club, also 83 goals against. Very similar, very comparable. 146 goals for. That is a differential of, Lucas, good luck with doing the math on that, about 70 goals there. That is a huge difference in goals for. This New York Aviators team can score in bunches. They can absolutely run you out of a hockey rink. And the Skipjacks Hockey Club, I think, has a chance to make their presence felt for the first time this year, but they do not feel they do not fit into the top 10 here right now.
No, and Dan, you were getting a little excited about the Skipjacks. You even got a little boastful about the Skipjacks.
I did tell Lucas that the New York Aviators fans, I know, Joe Sokoa there and the rest of the group, I know how much you love your Aviators. I will give you this opportunity. Hopefully you're watching. You better be watching the Dan K Show each and every week. You can pick what my punishment will be if the Skipjacks Hockey Club do not sweep the Aviators this weekend. You can pick my punishment. You can pick a punishment for me, something fun for me to do, something, well, not fun for me, it should be a punishment.
Well, you better be careful because the Aviators are from Brooklyn and they don't mess around.
They don't mess around. Just don't beat me up. Don't do anything to the moneymaker. This thing's tough enough already. It's they say I got a face for radio. Let's not make it any worse. But what I can tell you is I got an offer that you cannot refuse, okay? I'm going to give you an opportunity here to let me know, just let me know what Dan K should do if the Skipjacks Hockey Club do not sweep. If they do sweep, I get the satisfaction of being right for once.
Yeah, actually, that would be the first time that you're ever right.
Ever. I think ever.
Yeah.
In the history of the show?
Probably have to end the show.
I was right about the cat's birthday party. Let's go to the Premier Top 10 now. At number 10, making their debut in the Premier Top 10, the Richmond Generals, a team that's at number 2 in the Elite and now at number 10 of the Premier. What a year so far for Richmond.
Yeah, you know, they've been kind of slowly climbing. They've been on our radar, you know, for a while now, and that number 10 is kind of a show me spot.
Yep.
Right? You get thrown into that number 10 spot. Show me what you got. Show us what you can do and why you deserve to stay there.
There was another team involved in this. There was a triumvirate. It was the Skipjacks Hockey Club, the Richmond Generals, and another team that doesn't make it in here, Lucas. Who am I thinking of? The Hudson Havoc. The Hudson Havoc don't make it in either. I was going to try to trick him. There's no way he would have known. A couple teams that fall outside as well, the Motor City Hockey Club and the Chicago Cougars. We move to number 9, a team that does make it in. That's dropped 3 spots this go-around. Not due to poor play. I mean, it's just been, there's not been the opportunity here to really make a jump for them. They won their last 2 in a row, the Connecticut Nighthawks. Cacaw.
Yeah, you know, it's, again, one of those situations where it's not because of anything that they failed to do. It's just because other teams have jumped a little bit ahead of them. They've had a decent January. You know, they're close to even on those wins and losses. And again, enough to keep you in the top 10, but not really enough to prevent other teams from kind of moving around you.
And, you know, come playoff time, they have the guys that can score. They got Dennis Kuzmanov there, 22 goals, 24 assists. Obviously, Austin Marini, who I've talked about 1,000 times in this show, 26 and 40 with 66 points. Shea Flanagan, 14 and 33. He's the apple getter there, man. Johnny Appleseed making things happen for this Connecticut Nighthawks team. They've got the ability to put in the back of the net. When you have that ability, you can win any game. Every game they play is close. I guarantee you, come playoff time, every game they play will be exciting. It'll be fun to watch. It'll be quick. It'll be satisfying television right there for the Connecticut Nighthawks. They sit at number 9. We go to number 8. I'm almost afraid to be the one to say this out loud because I guarantee you there will be frustration. And I would love Joe there with the New York Aviators, their play-by-play man, challenge Dan K to a debate about this team. I will take that up. If you want to have a debate with me, Joe, you set it up. Me and you can talk. We can have a nice little recorded interview. We can meet in person and debate this one. But the New York Aviators are at number 8.
Yeah, and here's why it's tough, right? This is why I think the Lucas Jones style, and you can blame this one on me. New York Aviators are 30-3-2. The problem is that 2 of those losses have come in January.
Of recent, right? Recency
they're
bias.
Recent. So the thing is it's a recency bias against the Aviators. We've talked about 2 things. Recency bias, and when you're at the top, the only way to fall is unfortunately down. And the 2 losses, they're tough losses. A final and overtime loss against the Philadelphia Hockey Club and a shootout loss against the Metro Jets development program.
And an OT loss to the Motor City Hockey Club as well.
Exactly, and an OT loss to the Motor City Hockey Club. So they're definitely tough losses. There's no blowouts there, but it certainly throws it, you know, kind of up in the air.
And that's a team, the Motor City Hockey Club, after that OT win there, they looked like a team that were going to jump into that 10 spot. the Chicago Cougars have come roaring back and put us in a situation where we're just so gun-shy on that Midwest at this point. Every time we put a team in, they get beat up out there. We don't want to get blamed for it anymore. We don't want to jinx Jason McCrimmon and Mr. Gilman out there. We don't want to jinx Brad Stofers and John Schwartz. We want to keep these guys safe down the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, every time we pick someone in the Midwest, we always get shot out of the sky, so we hit the eject button on that Midwest for this one. But
We're
again,
not going to be a top gun on that pick for sure.
Prove us wrong. Show us what you got for that last month.
Brad Stofers, Tom Cruise, let's go. We're cruising forward with this one. It is time to go to number 7. And you know, we just said we don't like to put Midwest teams in here. And I had a guy by the name of Uncle Nasty tell me, Dan, make sure you pay attention to a little 20-0 weekend showing for the Minnesota Moose, who sit at number 7. I wanted them higher. I want Holyfield. I want them. I got him at number 7. I fought Lucas up to number 7. The Moose, antlers up.
Yeah, Moose. I think Moose at number 7 is a good call. The Minnesota Moose have had a really good month. They've gone 7-3-0. They've played some good teams. You go 20-0, like that in terms of goals scored. What do you say? 9 periods without giving up a goal.
Yep, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And that's not even like shots on net. That's bouncing pucks. That's odd angle chances.
Yep.
That's that weird goal where no one really knows where the puck is. No goals in 9 periods of play.
You got Tyler Jensen, who just got a commitment, 15, 22, and 37. And the leading point getter, Philip DeSava, out there. These guys get the job done week in and week out. You go to the netminders, and how about Maximilian Hasselbacher? 917 saves percentage, 2.15 goals against. You're seeing it over and over again. Good goaltending. Gets you titles, gets you opportunities, puts you in the postseason, gives you a chance to win on any given day, and the Minnesota Moose fit that mold.
Yeah, and you know, it's the law firm, right? It's Jensen, Kropp, and Harding. They're my 3 favorite guys to talk about in a group because they're so productive when they're out there. And you know, these are guys that you need to keep your eyes on. There, it's not just the assists, it's not just the goals, it's the power play, right? And staying out of the penalty box for some of these guys, and you know, just guys that when they're on the ice, big things happen.
And now we go to a team that I was going to put behind the Moose. They've beaten the Moose twice, though, and that's where Lucas used my own logic to beat me on this one. So we put the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings at number 6. This is such an interesting Midwest West. The number 1 overall team in the Midwest West, not in our top 10. The number 2 and 3 in our top 10. 3 is ahead of 2. This makes no sense. It's backwards, but it's what power rankings are all about.
Yeah, I was a big advocate for this one. I mean, you look at how we just talked about, right? How good the Moose have been. And then the River Kings come in and they beat them twice. They beat them 4-1 in the first game, and then they outlast them and beat them 6-5. I mean, this River Kings team, again, you talk about a streak. You talk about guys who have been hot lately. The River Kings, they've been really impressing me in a division that is normally very difficult. You talk about 1, 2, 3. Right, the River Kings are 8-2-0 in their last 10.
Yep, exactly.
And they've got a really great defense, a fun defense to watch, and their team is just so disciplined. You watch them all the time, and their ability to stay disciplined is I think unmatched.
I'd put my money on Marty Quarters any day, man. This is a coach that knows how to win a game of hockey. Adam Peterson leads the way for them, 29, 30, and 59. Really balanced scoring from this team. They can score from all over. Harold Juergens is a defenseman that does not get enough love around this country, around the hockey world. There is so much talent with this River Kings team. We move on to a team with a lot of talent. Always number 5, the Charlotte Rush, moving back 1 spot this month.
Yeah, Charlotte Rush, it's been a close month, right? So you've had wins and losses, but they haven't been by much. So you lose the Bandits by 1, you beat the Nighthawks by 1. Then you beat the Northern Cyclones by 5. You beat South Shore Kings, Richmond Generals. Then you lose one to the Richmond Generals, and then you have some trouble against Hampton Roads. It's been kind of a little bit of a topsy-turvy month. They've split more series than I think they've won, and again, that's good to keep you in the power rankings. But it's not good enough to insulate you from other teams moving above you.
That's exactly right. There's a certain level of play you got to keep up, especially when your name's the Charlotte Rush. People expect wins from organizations like the Rush, organizations like this. You're always expected to win, so 1 loss for them is 2 for anybody else, right? That's what it's like to be a leader. That's what it's like to be a king there on top. Heavy lies the head that wears the crown, right? And that's really what this one is. The Rush sit there in a comfortable 5 spot, that's striking distance for a title. Number 4, we're into the top 4, moving back 2 spots this month, the Boston Bandits.
Yeah, and this is a team that I've kind of taken a liking to ever since they joined the USPHL, and I got really excited to have another team up in Boston that we could really look at, and they've impressed me, right? And they're still in the top 10. They moved back a little bit, but they've got offense and defense, right? If you look at the stats, you're not blown away by the pure numbers, but then when you watch them play, you're blown away by how they can play every facet of the game and just really excel at it.
You look at the point totals compared to everybody else they're competing with in this top 10, and you go, this team doesn't measure up. This team doesn't stack up. Lucas, I ask you to click onto the goaltender. You don't have to actually do it, or you can just look at my screen. Raphael Provencher here. And this guy is absolutely insane. And the fact that he's not getting more love nationwide right now, throughout the entire hockey world, is a joke. A joke. Raphael right now has been an absolute Teenage Mutant Ninja goaltender. This guy, 24-2. 24-2. He's got a 1.83 goals against. He's allowing less than 2 a game. He starts almost every game for this Boston Bandits team. He's got a 9.42 saves percentage. That is HOF levels right there. That is a Hall of Famer, as they say in Boston. Hall of Famer. That's what they're calling Tom Brady right now. Tom's a Hall of Famer. This guy is as well, and Raphael.
Well, it's that .94, right?
Yep.
That's where you put that elite goaltender status, and again, they do it all, right? A goaltender is only as good as his defensemen, which are only as good as your forwards, and you look at a team that the numbers don't tell the story. You absolutely have to get out to a game and watch them. If you can't jump on hockey TV and watch these guys play, the way they work within their systems, the way they stay at home and stay disciplined, it's really great to watch.
Look them up right now. This netminder from the Boston Bandits better be on your list by tomorrow. To every scout out there watching along with us on the Dan K Show. Let's go to number 3. All worked up now. Northern Cyclones at number 3. They move up 5 spots. These guys are now in the 3 spot in both the Elite and Premier in the power rankings.
Yeah, and it goes to show you the organizational quality of it, right? So we talk about this cradle to college mentality, about how you want to kind of work with these young skaters as they continue to grow and build them into the skaters in the future of hockey. And that's what the Northern Cyclones are doing, right? They're doing it at the Elite. They're doing it at the Premier. Every time we see those Northern Cyclones Elite kids, they're so excited to play hockey. They're so excited to get out there. The Premier kids are the same way. NCDC kids are the same way. They're all just ready to play the game of hockey, and it shows when they get to 3rd on the power rankings.
These guys have jumped into 1st place here in the Premier. They added Zach Olin, which is a huge ad for them. A huge ad in Zach Olin. He has been a Dan K Show favorite all year long, and now you got the #1 team in the league who had probably the best forward on the New Hampshire Monarchs from earlier in this year with a chance to go for Title City, man. These guys are going for a cup.
Yeah, and what did we say at the beginning of the year, right? We said the defense for the Northern Cyclones is always there.
Yep.
But they have to get that offense going. Then you add a guy
just
like
Zach
Olin. I mean,
yeah,
if it were just as easy as, just adding Zach Olin, but apparently you just add a guy like that, and now you're on fire.
It would be like if people were like, we need somebody better to work along with Lucas Jones, and all of a sudden they just go out and get Doc to come on and do the show. You'd be like, man, it's a great trade. Get rid of Dan. Get him out of here. Zach Olin, man, huge ad for the Cyclones team. Number two. There's 2 teams in the top 2. Do I say who both teams are right now and then announce who's 1st and 2nd, or do I just go number 2?
I don't know. Do you want to make future Lucas's editing job harder or easier?
Number 2, the Hampton Roads Whalers at number 2, +1 in the differential here. They move up 1 spot from the 3rd spot last month, and the Hampton Roads Whalers really put on a show for us when we went down to Richmond.
Yeah, they're just so impressive. Again, you talk about a team that can absolutely stymie you in every facet of the game. It's the Hampton Roads Whalers Premier team. They've had an interesting month, not the month that they normally would like, but their skill level and the year they've had up to this date. You talk about the goal differential, the offensive production, their ability to stay disciplined, the way they play defense, the transitions. Yep. I love my job as a color commentary guy because I can watch the teams in transition, moving from defense to offense, clogging up the neutral zone, and the Hampton Roads Whalers do it better than almost everybody else.
I argue that they're number 1, and here's why. What was the issue with the Charlotte Rush last year at the Premier level? They were absolutely unbeatable. They never lost. Undefeated, never lost. They didn't lose. And they couldn't lose. They couldn't be beaten by anybody. And you go the whole season and you don't hit those bumps in the road and you don't hit that turbulence on your flight home like Dan K did coming back from Santa Cruz over the Rocky Mountains getting nervous and sweaty. you don't have those moments, you don't build the exact team you need to raise a cup. The Hampton Roads Whalers, who win the title last year, were a team that got beaten and bloodied during the year. They went through the grinder, and they're going through it right now a little later than they hoped in the season. But I think it sets them up perfectly to know exactly what they need to be come playoff time.
Yeah, it resets the mentality, right? It shows you that anybody can be beaten by anybody, especially in the USPHL Premier Division. And I think it's really going to motivate these guys. You turn around and you look at them and you say, hey, look, like, we've been beaten by some good teams, and we're going to run up against good teams when we get to the playoffs. Don't waste the season, right? You talk about, like, think of the Patriots in 2011, right? A team that went undefeated the entire season until they ran into a little team from New York. And then what did that season become?
Eli's coming, hide your hearts, girl.
It just became another year.
Coming,
and no one talks about that season for the New England Patriots.
Nobody
so
does.
you have to win it all so that people will remember the effort you put in the regular season.
Let me give you a little quote here for our guys getting ready for the postseason before we reveal number one. A loser can make one win feel like a million. A winner makes one loss feel like a million. But a king understands it takes both to build a dynasty. And that's what we need, folks. That's what we need out of you come playoff time. Throw that thing up on the board. It's a Dan K original. I better get the credit for it. I made that thing up. I lost sleep over it. It's tough for me to put words together like that. But again, a king understands it takes wins and losses to build a dynasty. And that's what you're trying to do right now if you're the Hampton Roads Whalers. And you're trying to do it as well if you're this team at number one. The team with the most points in the league. A team with an absolute stranglehold on their division. A team that anybody who's stepped up against them has had trouble. Whether they've won or lost, they've had trouble, man. They've had to go through it. You have to battle for space, you have to battle for time, and for the second month in a row, the Metro Jets jet their way up to the top spot in the Premier Power Rankings.
Yeah, Metro Jets have had an absolutely great month, and they just continue to dominate. You know, they're beating teams like the Cyclones. They're beating everybody right now.
Everybody.
And you know, you watch them.
Roads, they beat Charlotte.
Exactly. You watch them in person too. They've got the size, they've got the speed, they've got the skill. Some of those skill skaters right now. Dan's pulling them up right now. I mean, they just have the ability to make that puck look like it's from another world.
And look at the balance in these guys, man. Almost every guy with more assists than he has goals in this entire roster, which tells you that everybody's involved in the scoring. The puck's moving. These aren't guys that are breaking away. These aren't guys that are doing it by themselves. These aren't guys that are forcing their way in front and are only playing a physical game and can't play the mental game, can't play the skill game.
Yeah, you know, you've got, when you have one goaltender, it's great. When you got two goaltenders, they're averaging as a team a .177 goals against and a .93 save percentage. You've got Taliu, who's got a .913 in 17 games, 15-1. Yep. Then you go to Frederick Muirling, who's in 23 games is 19-2, with that not a .91. Not a 9.2,
yep.
Not a 9.3, a .942 save percentage, and 5 shutouts.
5 shutouts, and what I got to tell you, man, this team is so reminiscent of what the Jersey Hitmen, what the Boston Junior Bruins, what IHC do so well at the NCDC level. Have two competitive goaltenders that force the other guy to play better. I'm going to take your spot if you don't play well. And they just go back and forth. This guy starts today, you start tomorrow. And it's just right hand, left hand, man. These guys don't miss a beat. They don't miss a puck. They don't miss a game. It's been incredible to watch these two. Muirling and Taliu, man. These are two guys, add them to the list of netminders that need more appreciation from this premier level. These guys are top-notch, man. These guys are future D1 guys. These guys are big time in net. I can't wait to see where the future takes these two gentlemen. Muirling, though, .942, you can't do much better. Folks, Empty Net comes up next, our final portion of the show. It'll be a little bit shorter because we talked forever about the power rankings. Empty Net coming up next. Welcome to the Empty Net. Welcome to the Empty Net, hockey fans. A time where we always talk to you at home. And you know, we had all our fun with the power rankings. We are excited about all that's to come here. We got coming up soon the South Shore Kings Showcase, the President's Day Showcase up there. Then we'll be in Louisville, Kentucky doing the TSCHL conference tournament. We got a lot coming up, but first we go to a more serious conversation here, a more serious topic. We were reached out to about a young skater in Finn Forrester, a 14-year-old hockey player who loves golf like Dan K and hockey, man. This kid is modeled after my own heart. And unfortunately, Finn currently is battling liver cancer. He's battling, he's fighting, and he's got this new, they have this new setup for him, Finn Tough. Hashtag Finn Tough. we're asking you to get involved. We'll post the website here on the bottom of your screen, www.fintough.com. It's the FinTough campaign. You can donate. $10 buys you a raffle ticket. They have some great items you could possibly win with that raffle ticket. I know we'll be donating a bit here. I'm not going to be trying to win the raffle, of course, but we'll be donating. If we did wind up winning the raffle, we'll make sure to give away that prize to a lucky fan and donate the value of that as well. But we just want to reach out to everyone at home and let you know again, the FinTough campaign. Hockey is a family sport, right? It's a family game, billet families, people around the world, and it's just so important, these types of causes, for us to band together and do what we can. Whatever you can, whether it's $10, 10 cents, or $100, man, just whatever you can do.
Yeah, and you're going to see some information scrolling along the bottom there. Future Lucas is going to have that one taken care of, so you have all the information you need to go check out the cause, check out ways that you can help, and you know, it really is a worthwhile cause, and especially we talk about the USPHL. It's not just hockey, right? We've had a lot of teams who do a lot of great charitable work. The Florida Eels, New Hampshire Junior Monarchs, all the teams in the Southeast, the Richmond Generals, Hampton Roads, Carolina. I mean, it feels like every team in the USPHL has a charitable cause. So you know, every once in a while you want to be able to give back, and this is a great way to do that.
And we thank Jody Biella there, a parent from obviously Blake Biella with the Hampton Roads Whalers. We thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. He plays for the 04AA Junior Coyotes. He's number 89 too. I mean, he's a golfer. I'll tell you what, Finn, man, I'd love to hit the links with you, man. When you're feeling better, when we got ourselves through this thing, I'll hit the links with you any day, or I'll at least buy you around, man. I'll buy you a bucket of balls, get you around, get you out there. You'll probably make me look bad out there on the course. But again, the FinTough campaign, Finn Forrester, please help any way you can. I know we will from the Dan K Show. With that in mind, we move on here to our parting words. It's been a long show. It's been fun. We hope you reach out to us with the Dan K Show, and reach out to us. Let us know what you think about the power rankings. It's playoff time, man. Lucas, what do you got? Guy hosts his own show last week, his parting words, all these things, and he's got nothing for me today, but we've got so much coming up for you. TSCHL, watch out for us. We're going to have some interviews coming up in our next few weeks' shows with some of the folks from the league, some of the coaches about that. We're going to have some talk about college commitments. We got some new stuff coming up. Mr. Ducharme there with the, Jake Ducharme with the 18 New Hampshire Junior Monarchs. Congrats on the commitment to Albertus Magnus College. So much going on, so much happiness in the hockey world, and we hope you enjoy watching us with us. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night, and when he talks too long, he tends to mess up his words.
I only really need one show a year to get everything out, and then after that, I'm good.
You got it. You did it. I don't know. He was exhausted. This guy, he literally fell right to sleep right when the camera went.
I'm very efficient. Even my sneezes are efficient. It is achoo.
It's very serious when he sneezes. When you sneeze, I'm always like, that's definitely a sneeze. Achoo.
Achoo. Pardon me, I hope I didn't make anybody nervous.
I didn't mean to make a ruckus there. He's like an old southern gentleman now. I go right to Foghorn Lane.
Every time. It's always Foghorn.
I'll sell goodbye. Nice word.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the Rangers lost in overtime. They were winning the whole game.